Hi, I'm Jon Simmons with Sapphire Scientific, and Glenn Gallatin and I are here today to put this little video together to send out to our salespeople as an aid in remembering and describing the features of these machines to our customers. So what we're going to do is just kind of go over the features in general, then we're going to walk around the machine, go over the operation procedures, the maintenance procedures, show you where the maintenance points are, just to get you familiar with the machines. Okay, so we'll start out by just identifying the unique features of these machines. Probably the most obvious is the width of the machine. The 370 is only 16 inches wide, which is pretty close to most direct drive machines. Obvious advantage, it takes up much less space in the vehicle. Another unique feature is the heat capture system. Not only are we capturing the engine and blower exhaust, but also the heat that's radiated off of all of the drive components. Helps to give us much better heat than we would get normally. Another unique feature is the belt drive system. We use belts like a lot of other people do, but belt failure is sometimes a problem. To combat that, we've come up with a way of cooling the belts. It takes 120 degrees temperature off the belts themselves. Temperature control system on the machine. We're able to control the temperature in a tight band to provide for stable cleaning and not dump water into the recovery tank. Another unique feature of the machine is the simplicity. If you look behind the dash and inside the console of any of the machines, you'll find much less hoses and a whole lot less wiring and electrical components than on other machines. Much simpler to troubleshoot, fewer things to go wrong. So we'll start out by just going over the various features of the machine, how it's laid out. On the upper dash panel, chemical system is all together on one side. It's standard three-way valve, prime, off and on. Chemical metering valve over here. Standard last step chemical injection system. Temperature control, we've got a thermostat, analog thermostat right down here. Adjust the temperature as you wish for cleaning conditions. Gauges are laid out, kind of standard pattern, pressure gauge, vacuum gauge, temperature gauge, and hour meter. On this side, we've got controls for the pressure pump and for the pump out if it's equipped with one. Engine controls are to the far right, choke, throttle, standard ignition switch. Down below that, we have the circuit breakers, one for the pump out, one for the pressure pump, and then the main breaker. This control here is part of the heat control system, and it actually controls the diverter valve. So if you wanted to clean with cool water, this gets pressed in and turned to the right about 1/8 of a turn, and that will cause the diverter to bypass the heat exchanger with the engine and blower exhaust. On the lower panel, have inlet water down here, high pressure outlet up here. These two ports are the check valve for the chemical system on top, and there's a filter on the bottom. This is a maintenance point right here. This side over here on the bottom have the pressure regulator. The machine will go up to 1500 psi. This valve here it's labeled bypass valve. It's most useful for cooling the machine off after use. You're ready to cool it off, leave the pump on, open the valve a few turns, temperature will drop right down. Be sure and shut the valve afterwards, otherwise all the chemical in your chemical jug will wind up in the recovery tank. Above that is the lube port for the blowers, standard equipment. In the center, the bottom of the machine is the exhaust outlet. This is both blower and engine exhaust. Right now it has the 45-degree turn down. If that doesn't work with the installation that you have in mind, this can be cut off, and we have a transition piece for a through-the-floor exhaust kit available. Okay, on this side of the machine, chemical pickup hose right here goes into the chemical jug. There's a screen on there, important to keep that clean, another maintenance point. Chemical pump right here, pressure pump. Some people ask about what this big black hose is. This hose is called a throb hose. It's what smooths out the pulsations of the high pressure pump. Back in here on the inlet to the chemical pump is a filter, an inlet filter between the water box and the chemical pump. Another maintenance point. Depending on the area you're in, how dirty the water is, this may have to be cleaned out anywhere from once a day to once a year. Another maintenance point is the manifold for the bypass orifice. The bypass orifice keeps the water circulating through the machine to keep temperatures even and allows the sensors to know what's going on with the pressure system the whole time. There's two nuts on here. It takes a 15/16 wrench to take them off. The forward one is a filter. Again, needs to be checked probably at least once a week, again depending on your location. The back one is the actual orifice itself. Once you remove the nut on the outside, the orifice is a stainless steel set screw with a hole drilled in it, and it just needs to be kept clear. It can be removed with a 3/16 Allen wrench. Back here on the back, you can see the side of the water box. This is the heating system. Okay, also on this side of the machine is the engine oil drain, which is a stainless steel tube with a brass cap on it. And then we have three wires right here. One wire goes to the waste tank shutoff switch. One is for the automatic pump out, if you have one. The other is for the water source pump in, if you have that. On the back of the machine is what we call the thermal well assembly. This is another unique part of this machine. The casing around the outside is actually the water box that supplies water to the high pressure pump. Up here where this hose goes in, this is the supply from the front of the machine. Inside the tank there's an inlet fill valve, float valve, that'll shut off when the water level gets up to the proper level. There's also a plug that comes out. If you want to freeze guard the machine, this is where you'd put the antifreeze in. Back here is where the exhaust comes out of the silencer, which is in here under the blower, both the blower silencer and the engine muffler. Exhaust gases travel down through this piece and into the heat exchanger, which is the round unit at the bottom. Over here on this side is a thermal relief valve for the water box. This is connected to the waste tank. Its purpose is to keep water box temperatures under 165 degrees. Over here on the front of the heat exchanger is the diverter valve inside this housing. The diverter valve is activated by the shaft back here, which is controlled by this air valve in front of it. One of the unique things about this system is the fact that when we divert the exhaust, we divert both engine and blower exhaust, giving us better control over cleaning solution temperature. Down here we have two electrical components. The back one is the pickup for the temperature gauge. The front one is a high temperature shutoff valve switch. These two wires go to the battery, and then there's another plug right here. These are the wires for the fuel pump that go down to the fuel pump, which is mounted underneath the van. Going on forward, have the back side of the cat pump. The blue hose is the drain hose for the cat pump. There's a sight port right above it. Oil should be about the middle of the sight port around the red dot. And then up on top, further in, is a red cap. That's where the cat pump is filled from. Down here on the bottom is the adjusting screw for the cat pump. So to adjust the pump belt, loosen the four mounting bolts, run the screw back and forth to tighten or loosen the belt. Got two more hoses up here in front. The clear braided hose is the prime hose for the chemical system. And this actually mounts into the vacuum hose connection, which goes right here. And then the other one is for the valve we saw in the front, the bypass valve used for cooling the machine off. That also goes into the vacuum hose connection.